Well, if you listen to the delusional liberal media, it's apparently Joe Biden's best week ever. Politico declaring the president is back in the game the same week the U.S. entered a recession. They said, quote, somehow, some way, Joe Biden is back in the game after enduring a brutal year dominated by economic angst, legislative setbacks, and sinking approval ratings. The president is suddenly on the verge of a turnaround that the White House believes could salvage his summer and alter the trajectory of his presidency. Liberal Van Jones also thinks things are turning around for Biden, but it comes with a major caveat.
If you just erase the past 6 months of nutty stuff, it looks like you've got a president that can get an infrastructure bill done, get COVID stuff done, get something done for the American people on climate, get something done on chips. That's a successful presidency. You just, had the past 6 months of nonsense that takes away from it.
So, Dagan, it seems like Ron Klain's been talking to Politico about his outlook for President Biden.
Yeah, what is Van Jones talking about? So all of the spending is what brought on this skyrocketing, raging inflation. The spending out of the White House, and then the J-PAL central bank that was just, again, sopping up all the spending and juicing the economy. So they want more of it, clearly. You have a Federal Reserve that's trying to fight this inflation, but at the same time, just in the last week, the CHIPS bill and then this Schumer Manchin enrichment green monstrosity, combine those, that's more than $700 billion in additional spending, additional stimulus. So you're feeding the beast of inflation. You're not helping the Fed fight it. Also, extending the moratorium on student loan payments, again, inflationary handout to wealthy doctors and lawyers. The more that the Biden administration keeps spending and feeding inflation, the harder it is for the central bank, J-PAL, and the Fed to fight it. And the higher rates go, you're looking at like a leveraged economy entering Armageddon, where you have a collapse in housing, you have a collapse in all assets, you have a recession that doesn't run 2 quarters, but that runs literally years. Instead of a recession, inflation, recession, I call it the never-ending circle of suckitude.
So, Tyrus, the White House keeps saying we're now in a transition to stable growth now that the economy is contracting, which is negative growth. Yeah. That's not growth.
Hashtag said no one. I feel like the new speechwriter obviously worked for the Detroit Lions ticket sales department. Like, we're just going to put the years of never even coming close to the playoffs. It's all good now, Sorry, dear, I had an affair for the last 6 months, but the rest of our marriage has been wonderful. Like, this is the problem. Van, and I think Van has a great voice, and I have a lot of respect for him. But literally, I think it was 3 weeks ago, he was talking about how the president had failed black voters, and he had failed the Democratic Party by not following through on anything. What has happened since then? Like, this is the messaging. It's start telling the truth, because if this administration, I can take bad news, America can take bad news. Be honest with us. Quit changing words, quit saying things, quit painting pictures that aren't there. Listen, we're in a recession, and we're going to get out of it, and here's how. You're going to feel this pinch. This is going to happen, and we're fighting to do this. Americans will listen to that. Whether you voted for them or not, you can accept that, okay? But when you treat us like we don't understand, and you change words, and he comes on there like that going, well, if you just take out the last 6 months, you're the president of the United States. You don't get to do that. It is the worst job in the world.
Day one, and they're not going to change
But the only people they're talking, well, plus the CNN, the only people they're talking to is themselves. Yeah. Americans are not listening to that, and you will see that in November.
So, Harold, despite Joe Biden being the least popular president since World War II, I'll give him the win on the CHIPS bill. The Senate's looking, yeah, he did it. The Senate's, looking like it's leaning Democrat in Nevada and in Georgia. Not good for Republicans. But that doesn't mean that there's a comeback here when it comes to President Biden himself.
So I don't look. I didn't mean to be flippant. He certainly. I like to call balls and strikes. His numbers are in the 30s. They're bad. However, it's one election at a time in the country, and generally a first-term president is judged heavily by how his party does, or one day we'll say her, in the first 2 years. Now, in a generic polling, amazingly to many, and perhaps surprisingly to some, including myself, Democrats are ahead by 2 to 3 points within the margin of error based on what voters want in terms of a party person, that party in office. 2, in Georgia, in Pennsylvania, in Ohio, and Wisconsin, Democrats are running ahead in the Senate races now. If Democrats hold the Senate, if not add a seat or 2 or maybe more, if they don't lose the House, even if Joe Biden's in the 30s, the narrative automatically changes. We all know politics and have been in and around it. Whomever we want to blame, we can blame. But voters own elections. Now, the narratives change for him. The CHIPS bill, the infrastructure bill, you can see how you could write a speech around this, Tyrus, and say, hey, we did some things. The country, it took us a while to get here, but we found a way on guns. We got a deal there. I got a deal on chips. I got a deal on infrastructure. We're working on COVID. That still may not be enough for him. But remember, the presidency is not 1 year. It's not 1.5 or 2 years. It's a 4-year deal. And if Democrats hold in the midterms, you got to think it bodes well for Biden 2 years later.
Well, Joey, also, though, the people running for office as Democrats are running far away from Joe Biden. He's not on the campaign trail with these people. They don't want him to show up. Also, the media's defense of the White House language, changing the definition of things like recession, they're relying on that a lot in terms of the narrative here.
Now, politics might be the one sport you can't score on defense. And if you're going out and explaining why recession isn't recession, you're probably not scoring points. You're probably not doing well. I'll also say, if you want to invoke something like Georgia's Senate race to show how well the president's doing, you're carrying a lot of water.
No, because I was only saying the politics. I hear you. I was just saying the midterms.
You get what I'm saying? The president is only the leader of the Democratic Party, it seems, when it's convenient for him to be the leader of the Democratic Party. He gets to win on chips, but he doesn't carry the baggage of some of the things that failed, like his agenda that failed in Congress. I think the Senate has a lot to do with this, the makeup of the Senate. I think that Mitch McConnell got his butt handed to him this week through either bad tactics or not having his eye on the ball. I guess Republicans can always say, thank God we got 3 Supreme Court justices in, because the Senate would pass almost $2 trillion in spending, but they won't do the PACT Act this week because they want to be fiscally responsible. So, and I know there are things with that, but my point is optics. Regular Americans don't understand every little nuance when it comes to how bills are passed and spending happens.
They do understand enriching the rich, which that semiconductor bill did. That is a lucrative, high-margin business that's loaded, that needed no money, and 17 senators, 15 of which aren't up for re-election, signed on to it. So far, Republicans have joined Democrats on $1.3 trillion in spending this Congress. They could have run on inflation, the baby formula shortage, gas prices, and they gave it away. And now they're rudderless, these Republicans.
Well, the CHIPS bill was actually introduced in a way by the former administration, by Secretary Pompeo, because it was a national security risk.
It wasn't sort of. It was introduced by.
It was. So there was a national security issue to compete with China.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.